Let's talk about achieving the dream relationship versus settling for something much more mediocre. Because if we're looking at society as a whole, if we look at any population, it's pretty obvious that most people settle, right? They achieve and have and get and receive far less than anywhere close to their true potential, right? They're living far, far below what their actual potential is. It's mediocrity, right? And you can look at this. Let's just use financial as an example, right? Financial success as an example, and I'm going to bring it back to relationships and love. But this one's really easy to see, right? Most people are working in jobs that kind of suck, and they're making incomes that kind of suck, and they're not doing that much about it, right? And of course there's a very small minority of people that are making plenty of money and very successful and all that kind of stuff, but most people are living very, very mediocre lives, right? And of course, now of course, priorities, right? It's obviously not everything's about money and all that, and I fully get that, but I'm talking more about people's mindsets, right? This mediocre mindset of settling and not being your best, right? Because that's what most people do. They're just, because it's so easy to live in fear, right? Even people who don't realize that they're living in fear, but pretty much everybody is living in fear so much of the time. Um, Not really striving for anything. They're not really going for what they truly want, and they're not doing what's necessary to actually get what they want, right? And that's why most people's lives kind of suck. They like, and by suck, I just mean it's like far below what it could and should be. And this is all about mindset. It's all about mindset, because every person, minus obviously there's some mental disabilities, for some people, but the vast majority of people are capable of really getting what they want in life, right? Especially in love. It's just that very few people are going to do it because it's too hard. And and the like, I'm just going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example from my life with, going out and meeting women and everything. So I spent most of my life, well, the first 2/3 of my life anyway, up until I was 23, just terrified of talking to people, right? I couldn't have a conversation with anybody except my brother. I'm not even exaggerating. That's how poor my social skills were. That's how scared I was of talking to people. That was especially like strangers, let alone people I actually knew, but especially strangers, and especially women, more than anything at all, especially beautiful women, but really it didn't matter, any woman. And and it wasn't until I got to a point where I'm like, I am not settling for bullshit, right? I hit this point where I realized, here, this is part of it, right? It's realizing that I actually can have the best. It is actually achievable. And that is something that is outside of most people's mindsets, whether it's love, whether it's money, whether it's whatever, right? And so if you don't believe it, if you don't even believe it's possible, then of course you're not going to achieve it, right? You're just going to live in your little box of mediocrity. And so that's one of the first things that I really want people to shift, because I realized two things at once. One thing, that I could like massively become a different person and develop myself and become like fully confident in myself and an extremely capable leader, and have unbelievable social skills, which it was out of my reality before. So I realized that. And then I also figured out an exact way to go do it, right? Methods, going and meeting women every day and people every day, but also like how to integrate everything, how to, where like a direction that I'm actually going, a method to doing everything. And so once I had that, I had a unstoppable motivation and perseverance, right? Where I'm like, I'm never giving this up. I've got this goal and I'm going to do it. And so I want anybody who watches this video to first realize I don't give a fuck who you are, and I don't give a fuck where you are as far as your social skills, your self-confidence, your self-worth, any of that stuff. It doesn't matter where you are. It matters where you are, where you want to go, and how badly you're like, how committed you are to doing something about it, right? I would rather work with somebody who is like a 0 out of 10 as far as self-worth and social skills and all of that kind of stuff, but is like 100% committed to do something about it, than someone who's like an 8 in everything, but is just not really that serious. The 0 is going to get to a 10 before the 8 ever does, because they're serious enough about it. All they need is the right support, right? If they're committed enough to do it, they're going to do it. And those people are amazing. Those people are absolutely amazing because they have a mindset where it's like, I'm going to do it no matter what. It's the number one thing. It's the number one thing. That's why I'm talking to you today, right? That's why I pretty much got everything that I want out of, myself, my own, of course, and I'm never where I want to be. I always want to continue to grow and become better no matter what. So that journey's never over where it's like, okay, I'm done now. But as far as what I wanted out of life and love and financial success and whatever else, pretty awesome. And it's not because I'm smart. It's not because I'm trying to think of other things about me. It's not about anything really other than being like 100%, I'm going to figure out a way to do this. Right. And being completely unwilling to settle for less. And anybody can really achieve that if they want it. So if we're talking about polarity, right, we're talking about your love life. Let's talk about how this actually looks in, okay, we'll say a relationship, or maybe you're dating or whatever, right? So you're doing this. And then let's say you join my free group and it's like, oh, great, all this stuff, right? And then, you, maybe you buy one of my books or 2 of my books or whatever. And you get that information and then you start applying it and you make some shifts and it's like, okay, things are a little bit better now. And most people are going to stop there. Most people are going to stop there because they are stuck in so much limitation, because it's like, this is good enough, or, it's not, I'm not in enough pain, so I'm just going to settle and I'm going to eat Cheetos on my couch. And that's it. Right. And so what they're actually doing is they're settling in their identity, in their, limited belief system about their self and what's possible and what they deserve and all that kind of stuff. And they're just going to stay there. They're going to stay there. And they are going to make excuses to stay there too. This is the really big, important piece that I want people to understand. Because for me, for example, when I was making a lot of these shifts, I didn't have any of those excuses. It was like, don't care how much money it costs. Don't care how much time it takes. Don't care how scary it is. I'm doing it no matter what. No matter what, whatever resources, whatever I have to sacrifice, whatever. No, this is who I'm going to become. And that's it. That's the end. Right. And so I achieved it. Took a lot longer than I thought, but I did it. But that was because a lot of my resources sucked too. And I went in the wrong direction for a lot of it. But, and so I want people to see that when it's something like, and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people, some people, many people are going to be ready on their own time. So we're talking about a solution like the Academy, right? Where you are going to learn absolutely everything about polarity, all of the issues that you have, all the problems you have in your love life, whether you're single in a relationship, not being able to communicate properly, right? If you're a woman, not being able to inspire a man to step up and actually lead and devote to you, right? And take care of you and protect your heart and be true to his word and all of that. And if you're a man, being able to command the respect of a woman, to just let go of control and have faith in your leadership and receive your leadership and not be resistant, not be leading, and all the things that irritate you, right? That's what we help you do, right? So that and not just like, oh, let's just shift a few things so that your life doesn't suck anymore, but give you everything that you need to transform everything, right? Because I'm talking about the dream relationship. I'm not talking about the slightly better than mediocre relationship. That's easy to do. That's really easy to do. But the dream relationship where you literally don't have problems. Like, I know that kind of sounds far-fetched and ridiculous to a lot of people, but I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Where everything in a relationship just flows all the time, and there really is none of that irritation. There is none of those unmet needs. A woman can just fully let go and flow and relax and be led and get all of her needs met and just fully expressive, right? Fully in her heart, fully expressing everything, holding back nothing, right? Being able to be fully exposed and seen and heard in that way. And a man who is, fully in his dominance, in his power, leading everything, taking charge, stepping up in every way, having his leadership fully respected, as he's fully devoted to her. That's what we're helping you do, right? And I'm talking about that level of shift. Now, I'm not saying you're going to make all of those shifts 100% in the Academy, but you're going to make enough of them and then continue to make them and know exactly where you're going, to continue and go all the way. And I really want to inspire people to realize that you can have that level of a relationship, right? You can have it. Why couldn't you have it? Well, the only reason you couldn't have it is if you continue to make excuses to not have it, right? To not do everything that it takes to have it. And so going back to what I was talking about with myself before, whatever it takes for money, whatever it takes for time, whatever it takes for fear, I'm going to do it, right? Do you have that attitude? Because if you don't have that attitude, you're probably going to settle for mediocrity. I don't really unless something big shifts at some point in the future, which it can. But if you don't have it right now, you're on the road to continued mediocrity for the rest of your life. This is a wake-up call, because I love you, because I want you to see what you're doing if you don't have that full level of commitment to yourself, to your dreams, to what you can have in your love life. And it's not just your love life, it's really everything, because it shifts everything by making these changes. But we're focusing on love life here, right? I want people to have that level of commitment. Whatever it takes for money, whatever it takes for time, whatever it takes for fear, I'm going to do it. If you have that level of commitment where you're that serious, well, the support is right here, right? Because we can get you there. We can fully get you there, but we can't get anybody there. Even if you had all the money and the time and the, in the world, if you don't have that level of commitment, then we can't get you very far at all, right? Because you're not going to utilize everything that we give you, especially the fear part, because that's the most difficult part. The money and the time, okay, that can be difficult depending on the person, but you can always make time. You can always make better choices to have more time. But then the fear part is the really big piece, where people can make excuses forever because fear is really uncomfortable. It's really, really uncomfortable to move through fear. And it's so easy to just stay in excuses forever. But I really want, if you really want that dream relationship, right? And it's not just going to be mediocre. It's not going to just be some level above mediocre, but it's like, no, I want everything because I fucking deserve it, right? Because I deserve it. And of course I'm going to get it. And of course I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it. I really want to work with you. All right. I really want you to reach out to me, send me a private message on Facebook, and let's talk about it. Because there's no reason, if you have that level of commitment, that you can't have everything that you want. But you've got to be serious enough to make real steps to get that support. Because if you're planning on figuring all this out on your own to get to that level, then you're not actually that serious. You can't be, because you're not doing everything possible to get there. But if you are that serious and you really want that, you're really willing to do whatever it takes, good. Send me a private message and let's talk. And we will talk all about how we can get you there. So reach out to me.